was pretty resistant to the idea of listening to music from an Ace Combat game. Not for any real reason, I just assumed the music was, I don't know, gonna be lame. Per usual, I was completely wrong. On this here channel, I listened to Zero and Unsung War first, and I was completely flabbergasted and blown away by the music of Ace Combat on the whole. So when I had the chance to play through Ace Combat 7 over on the old Twitch channel, which by the way, pause this video and go ahead and follow there for future gameplay, I was really excited. Something that really is interesting to me as a lover of video game music is when composers of the medium take many different styles and synthesize them into one. Based on what I've heard, Keiki Kobayashi is a master of this. How one game can open with guitar blues in Drag Racer and end with the power of the Alicorn Trio with its Catholic Church hymn presentation is absolutely beyond me. Not only that, but it's probably one of a handful of games that fit with a rock aesthetic like that of bands like Steely Dan, the Doobie Brothers, and Chicago. Something about that rock guitar mixed in with the drums and orchestra feels shockingly at home in the 1970s and 80s. It's awesome. That leads me to my next point. Ace Combat as a series really is awesome. We're not just going to the grocery store here. We're not ordering a burger. No, unless you consider the one mission where we bring a pizza. Thanks, Ember of Silver, for reminding me of that in my Twitch chat while writing this. No, we're flying in vessels of destruction. In some ways, it actually feels like we're not the pilot in the plane, but the plane itself. Monsters of the sky, holy beings of metal and machine. I think this presents an interesting challenge for a composer. How does one musically represent beings of metal in a reverent and organic way? It would be very easy to dismiss the music in a plain fighting game, and yet somehow the music for the most part are one certified banger after another. Going back to the track called Drag Racer, the first track we hear, we open with this open-versed blues sound. Feels reminiscent, isolated, warm, hot, lost. Then it picks up rhythmically, and we get this feeling of determination. The drums pop in, we feel empowerment, moving forward, unstoppable with a smirk. But then it all shifts. We enter a new sound, expansive, wide, strings come in, we sense a new dawn approaching. We hear the engine rip, and I'll come back to this later. And suddenly, we ascend. We're off. We speed and take flight, and we're thrust with the first time we hear the main melody, Trigger's melody, if you will. This theme sees several variations throughout this game, but this may be one of my favorites. Despite how brief it is, there's nothing quite like the first time you hear a melody that you know is going to stick into your bones for a playthrough and beyond. My other favorite moment that has Trigger's melody appear is in Faceless Soldier, not only because thematically this is one of the big shifts in the game, but also for the sheer power of this simple chant. It feels like something you'd hear in church if it weren't for the instrumentation or rhythm. Build up, build up, build up, build up, build up, and then bam, we ascend into the stratosphere. What was a simple chant becomes an epic free verse solo that glides high into the sky, and Trigger's melody takes over. Speaking of chant, Soul Squadron, that strumming guitar, the Gregorian unison chant, the guitars that split off and duel with each other, the drums on the big beats, this piece makes your blood pump. Unrelenting chant, the strings descending, key changes, key shifts, we're flying now, spinning, whirling, G-turns, ferocious propulsion. This is where we get the first taste of what Archange becomes. Of course, the melody of Soul Squadron gives way to two pairs. This is an electric duel to the death, with a pilot so exemplary, there's little chance that you can possibly win. And yet in you go, diving into the mountains, avoiding lightning strikes, squaring off with the king of the skies. Fantastic percussion in this piece with blood-curdling violin tremolo. Not to mention the sound of the jet engines in that brass. Fantastic stuff I've never heard in another series. The engine roar of gods. Other songs that stand out are Long Day. Just kidding. Long Day. Just kidding. The music is actually great, but man, that mission. Oh boy. It nearly broke me. I didn't think I'd finish the game because of it, actually. Long game sucked on normal. But thankfully, with no DLC planes used. Charged Assault. What an amazing first out the gate track that sets the tone so wonderfully for the rest of the game as we meet this crazy cast of characters. The absolute insanity of slap bass during Mimic and Scream. There is a reason fans of this series say you're all tough and confident until the skies or seas start speaking Latin. Archange track. The choral unison hymn, the swelling buildup, the absolute roar of the brass symbolizing the engines blasting, the female chorus joined by the men, Dona Nobis perpetua, more roaring of the engines. There is no track I love more than this one. Even Daredevil, the magnum opus of this game, doesn't win out in my personal opinion to the sheer virility, power, religious deification of Mihai that this song provides. It is perfect. It is a gem. I love it with all my heart. I would let the skies speak Latin to me any day of the week if it meant I could hear this track and experience that battle over again with fresh eyes. It was an incredible build-up over the course of 13-ish hours. There are countless tracks in Ace Combat 7 that are amazing, including the fantastic Daredevil and Hush. The cinematic and emotional impact of those two tracks is some of the coolest stuff in video games today. Here's to more Ace Combat speeding its way towards us at Mach 3 soon. I can't wait for more.